What up, you lab rats? This is episode number 54. Today we're talking about ways to be more productive. 5 to be exact. Stay tuned. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Lab Rat Dailies show. I'm standing. I'm here at my standing desk, and it certainly does a little something different to the show, and different to me, too. I feel a bit more... Anyway, welcome back to the show, guys. This is the Lab Rat Daily shows, the in-between show of Kevin and I, the main show on the Get in the Lab podcast. On Wednesdays, where we talk about building a business together and stuff like that. The in-betweens, every day on the Lab Rat Dailies, every day has a theme. Today's theme on Tuesday is called Tuesday Tips. I give you tips on how to do stuff. And today, of course, we're talking about how to be more productive, right? We all want to be more productive, don't we? Like, we wake up and we're like, oh, crap, it's 8. I got to do more crap. And all right, so... All right, so I'm going to share with you guys the 5 things that I've been doing as of late that have made me more productive. I feel that's given me way more energy, for my business, for my brand, for myself, moving forward in this direction. And I kind of want to put them in a show, even though you may have maybe heard of some of these things before. I think it's important to be reminded either by me or by somebody else or whatever, because we forget or we get complacent, don't we? And we often go, I've heard that before, but how often you heard it before, but you haven't really put it into action, right? It's like losing weight, right? You basically know how to lose weight, okay? It's not that difficult. People try to complicate it, really. It's basically eat less and be a little bit more active, because that's basically it, right? And you just never really take part in that because, you don't actually make a commitment to doing that. So today, guys, on Tuesday Tips, I want to activate at least some of you to maybe take part in these things. If you've heard them before or you haven't heard them before, great. But if you have heard them before, to actually take action upon them. You know what? A lot of the information out there isn't new, but it's the fact that what you act upon that really matters. Okay, so let's get into the first one in no particular order. Okay, obviously the standing desk first and foremost. Welcome to the standing desk. I love this standing desk. Doing the show standing up, it made me a little not nervous, but I didn't feel like I was comfortable with it yet. And I kind of like that I wasn't comfortable, because it put me on another edge, and it made my energy rise just a little bit more. And I had to kind of catch up. My mouth had to catch up with the energy that's brought when I stand up. And it's really cool, because I now command it, and I can feel it. I can hear it in my voice. It's so much different than when I sit down. I'm like, super reserved, calm, collected. I was jumbling with my words when I first started this episode. And that is because of this kind of weird dynamic that standing does. And I think it's really cool, because I was activated by, firstly, Pat Flynn. He said, I podcast standing up. And I was like, huh. So that kind of like planted a seed in my brain. And then I saw one of Tim Schmoyer's videos on how he made his standing desk. And I was like, hey, I have that thing. I had a standing desk before, and it was awesome. And I took it out because, I don't know, I was stupid. So I put it back. And basically, it's just a desk on some bed risers to kind of lift it off the floor. And since I'm short, I'm only like 5'1", it's perfect. It's perfect for me. So I didn't have to buy like special legs for my desk, and I got kind of excited about that. And it has been really awesome, guys, because if you didn't know, I've been dealing with a lower back injury, chronic pain, for 3 years before I actually really started to commit to healing my own body, which was just a couple of months ago, really. But now I find that standing and being able to do this, and being able to do a little dancing while I do whatever, while I type, while I blog, while I upload, I just get so much more done. And it's amazing, because it even activates me to do things that I'm not particularly excited to do, like SEO for Kevin's blog and stuff like that. I'm like, whatever, pop the music on, I have the radio on, I just do a little dance, and it's cool. It's so awesome, guys. And Firstly, yeah, if you do a lot of stuff at the desk, I would highly encourage doing a little, standing desk action if you can. I think it's really, really cool. And it's taking me some time to adjust. It's not like I don't get tired. I do get tired. And what I'll do is I'll straight up squat Asian style. And maybe I'll show you. I'll shoot some B-roll and I'll throw it up. It's an incredible stretch for the low back. And if you can't squat, there's something wrong with you, because all humans should know how to squat. And I'll put a link in that in the description as to the research behind that. And there's so much more that you should know about squatting. But anyway, okay, so number 2, besides the standing desk awesomeness, all right, is sleeping. You guys probably would have guessed that, but I was a very light sleeper. I would say a very poor sleeper. I would wake up in the middle of the night for whatever reason, right? And then it would have trouble coming back to sleep, and then I would often wake up very early, and so I would always feel very unrested when I woke up, even though I stayed in bed for at least 7-8 hours most of the time, but a lot of it was interrupted sleeping and stuff like that. And so to improve my sleep over here, and it kind of depends on everybody's, situation. Kevin and I often will sleep together, right? That's what couples do. At the same time, he moves and he snores sometimes. And then like right when I hear like a little baby snore, like the most baby snore, I wake up and and so I'm a very, very light sleeper. And so what I did was, if those are the cases where it's like a snoring week or it's a snoring time, I don't know. He seems to snore when he eats a lot, which is all the time. So I'll just go to my own room and have my own bed to sleep in, and it's no big deal. I could sleep in silence. Another thing is rubbing, I got this from my mom, rubbing lavender essential oil just all over myself. Like I love lavender. It's so calming, and it really gets me in the mode to be restful, and to also read something before I sleep. That thing just knocks me out. And then probably not drinking a lot of fluids before I go to sleep too. That also helps, and I'll wake up in the middle of the night. But nowadays I'm sleeping much more restfully, and so I wake up with like a lot of energy, guys, and I wake up pretty early too. So that's really amazing. I think the point is staying asleep, right? And having kind of like a nice little routine for yourself when you're starting to go to sleep. That means everything's turned off, your phone is put away, or if you read from your phone, whatever, that's fine. Grab that lavender essential oil and rub that between your hands and give it a little sniff. Rub some on the bottom of your feet. I heard that helps. I do it occasionally when I feel like it's going to be a rough night of sleep. I'll do it and I get to sleep. I don't know how that works, but you could try it and you can just, you could see. Rub some in my hair, underneath my nose, and just kind of just do this little self-leaven with the lavender oil. And it works, guys. It works. So another thing is, to be more productive, I created a content calendar, right? So I just kind of fill it with all of my ideas. And the more that you can come up with ideas and become this kind of like idea machine, the better it is for you to kind of create content. It doesn't have to be daily like the Lab Rat Dailies or anything, but if you can create a schedule for yourself and be consistent to that schedule, whether it's every day, every week, every 2 weeks, every whatever, as long as you stay consistent to it, that keeps you more productive because you create for yourself a schedule, and it's not like you can't break your own rules for sure. But having that kind of strong foundation of a content map, a plan, a schedule is always a good idea and keeps you productive for sure. Otherwise, you're just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. Who am I? You know what I mean? So, yeah, content calendar, content map, content plan, whatever you're doing online. Most of you guys are either YouTubers or bloggers or podcasters. So, hopefully you have a content map or planner or something like that. All right. Last thing is a big one, guys. I really want you to pay attention to this. And this is to be more productive, which I just recently went through, and it's really liberating. And I've already kind of posts and created content about this, but it's saying no to shit that you're not good at or you don't want to do. Okay? So saying no, not specifically to shit that you don't want to do, but just the power of saying no to projects, people, sometimes events, things like that, whatever, things that like potentially could take up, a lot of your time or a lot of your energy, that aren't necessarily the best thing for you to be doing. Okay, so I just recently had a very specific example of this. And as you guys I told you guys I was creating a kind of morning show for Rat House Productions, called The Morning Wood, right? And I did short little segments. I only did 3 episodes or something like that. And it was all right. We didn't have a plan. It was very experimental. It was kind of hyped on just the excitement of both being, in love with podcasting. But it didn't work out, right? To me, it seemed like a very great opportunity, but just not for me at this time. And so I was almost afraid to say no, but then I thought about if I say yes when I don't mean to say yes, that's taking away, that's doing them and myself such a disservice, because my heart is not 110% in it, and I'm all about that, remember? And they're getting a half-assed performance or content creator who's not truly in it, right? And so I said no to that opportunity to continue on with them. And that was okay. And I voiced that to the heads over at Rat House Productions, and they were very cool with it and very understanding. But I felt so relieved. I was like, oh God, thank you. Because I felt that if I had continued to go on with that, I would be overwhelmed. I would be just not doing my best work online. And I always kind of remember to, whatever I put my hand on, my brand or my voice or whatever, that it's a true representation of what I want to put out there. You know what I mean? I want to be 100% okay with it. So in my heart, I didn't feel it. I went with my gut, and it told me that it wasn't the opportunity to take. So I said no, and I respectfully declined. And that has now freed up in my brain, at least, maybe not specifically time slots in the schedule, because my time slots are always full, but in my brain, the weight of that collaboration was taking space, and it was taking energy. And that wasn't necessarily something that I needed to have on myself right now. So saying no, freed up all that. I felt liberated. I felt lighter. And I feel ready to take on and give more of my energy to the projects that really do garnish my attention and my touch, basically, which are the products here over at, Get in the Lab and Clean Media. But yeah, and for another big thing, I wasn't good at it. I wasn't really rocking the house over there. So that's another thing, to pay attention to, your performance and your progress on new projects, and whether or not you want to continue on with them or cut it off real quick. I think it's better to cut things off real quick, because then there's no disappointment. It's just like, well, it's done. It's done. And you can easily, as long as the line of communications are very wide open, honest, and courteous, there should be no problems, saying no to projects that don't suit you anymore, right? And so that was cool. That was fine. But I want you guys to remember, as you go along in whatever journey that you are on, you're going to come across opportunities and things that may, fall on your doorstep, and they'll be asking you yes or no. And it's always important to go back to your roots and remember why you're doing what you're doing. And even though, things may look fancy on the outside, always come back to here, to your heart, and ask yourself, is this something I want to do, or I want to be a part of, or that I can see myself giving my all to? And so when I asked myself those questions, in that case, it was no. And so I really wasn't feeling it. So to be honest, it was a very nice learning experience. So so no hard feelings again. Rat House Productions, I continually support them in what they do. I think it's awesome for what they do. It's a different style. It's definitely something I can learn from in the podcasting realm and radio. Definitely will keep supporting them, but I'm no longer a part of that team over there, but can't deny we might be doing something in the future. We want to leave that thing open. But yeah. Did I forget one? I did forget one. Okay, and lastly, guys, so I've been so bad about it, but now it's become a ritual because of the results that I've been getting, and that is working out in the morning and like going to the gym and lifting heavy shit. Like it's so, for one, it's therapeutic, which I never thought it would be. Two, I'm finally getting better. And that's an amazing thing. And I feel so much more lighter because when you deal with any kind of chronic pain, it changes you. It changes you into somebody else, this person who's always afflicted, who's always got something to complain about, somebody who always sees themselves as somebody with limitations, and that's how I kind of saw myself for a good 3.5 years, maybe 4 years, because of a back injury. And so finally now, with a lot of pain, but a lot of perseverance too, I'm finally seeing the results of having a very strong core and back that can take me through standing up for long periods of time. What else? Cleaning around the house, being in the car for a very long time, and just kind of the normal things that nobody really thinks about until they get injured, right? Working out in the morning has made me immensely more productive because of just that spring in your step when you don't feel any pain and you can't remember when you didn't feel pain. You just kind of got used to it and tolerated it. Like that was a period in my life where that was very deflating, very deflating. So now it feels very just uplifting to be doing normal things without pain. But what has attributed to that was working out in the morning. And working out in the morning, more specifically, is, it doesn't mess with your sleep cycle. So there have been a lot of studies on this, and working out initiates better hormone processing and whatnot, and for you to sleep better. And so when you can work out all of those anxieties and extra energy and weird stuff in your body that kind of accumulates throughout the day because you've been working so hard, or maybe you had a fight with somebody, or maybe it was just a bad day, but you get to work all of that crap out in the gym, and hopefully in the morning, it kind of sets you up right for the rest of the day. You know what? On an energy level, I definitely feel a big spike in energy from working out in the morning. And what I'll do is I'll just keep it variable. I have no schedule. I just go to the gym. I stay there for like an hour because I'm having fun using all these different machines. And I know that I'm getting better. And that also motivates me as well because I know that I'm making progress. And so I bet some of those things you probably would have guessed, like the working out one. But the point is even though you've heard these things before, is acting on them. So I want to motivate and activate you guys to act on one thing today. And leave it in the comments which one of these little tips was your favorite. But what about you guys? What are your tips for being more productive? Is there something that I didn't cover? I know that there are many of them. What's your favorite kind of tip to be more productive? Share it in the comments so that others can learn from you. All right, so thanks so much for hanging out with me today, guys, here on the Lab Rat Dailies. Tomorrow is a very special episode with me and Kevin on the Get in the Lab podcast. He's actually in Vegas participating in the WPPI Wedding Photographers Convention thingy, along with a bunch of our other friends. And I didn't go because, one, I hate road trips. Two, I'm not the biggest fan of weddings. I mean, I love weddings. I mean, obviously, but the whole like, wedding photography thing, that's his deal. So let's let him enjoy that by himself. And I'm going to enjoy what I love by myself, which is podcasting and being here with you guys. Okay, so good things. We'll see you tomorrow on the Get in the Lab podcast. Like this video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more stuff like this. And we'll see you next time here on the Lab Rat Dailies. Once again, my name is Megan, reminding you, get in the lab. We'll see ya. Peace out. 20 minutes. Not too bad.